This is 12 Months in a Hammock, August edition. Okay, so today I'm going to go over the Lawson hammock. This hammock was made by a guy who really enjoyed tent camping, but he wanted something that was more lightweight and easy to set up in a jam and stuff like that. So we created this Lawson hammock. The whole hammock's made out of a nylon material, which is weather coated, so you don't have to worry about the rain or anything like that. The tarp is unique to this hammock, as most hammocks have a tarp that's separate from the hammock, where this one wraps completely around the hammock. This has pros and cons. One of the good things about this is you have pretty good protection, and the negative, I would say, is you're decreasing the airflow that can get into you, so you get pretty hot if it was a muggy day. One thing during the rain that I think this tarp wouldn't be able to do is when the rain comes running down the sides, I think that it would go around the bottom, like you see here in this corner. I can't seem to get this part to cover a little bit more. Maybe if I tighten up that one piece, but you see it would come down and it would start to eventually soak the side of the hammock. That would eventually perhaps get into you and then lead for an uncomfortable night. Another feature this hammock has is you can tie it out. So you see I have a guideline tying out the corner here, and I have that on all four corners, and that's supposed to increase the stability of the hammock. Most hammocks don't need to be tied down to make it stable, and one of the reviews I've often seen is this hammock is not a very stable hammock. So I tied it out. We're going to get in and try it out to see if that helps in keeping it from you flipping out of it in the middle of the night. Okay, so I'm going to take the tarp off now and show you what it looks like without the tarp. So you just unhook the bungee cords, and it also velcros underneath the bottom in two spots to keep it there for you overnight. If you want to come over here for a sec. There's also these bungee cords on the ends that you can hook into the rope, and that kind of wraps under and hooks onto the rope system here. These are nylon rope cords. And then there's one more bungee cord here that attaches to your suspension point that will hold it across the ridge line of the system. So I'll go over on this side here. Same thing on both sides, obviously. And there you have it without the tarp. Okay, as you can see now, the tarp's off, and you have a better view of the way this hammock is set up. The hammock comes with these aluminum poles that are like a tent pole, and they go around these fixed spots to create kind of a loop in the hammock so the bug net will stay out of your face. This is really effective. I really like this feature of it. And then the way that it pulls the loop up is they got a bungee cord here that attaches around the center part, and it goes back all the way to your suspension. The hammock also has these nylon ropes and your spreader bar pole. Now, the way that I've been told that this works is if you're finding there's tight spots in the hammock or pressure points, you can actually tighten or loosen these individual ropes to make it more comfortable and tailor it to the way that you like to sleep, which is a great feature, because a lot of hammocks, when you get it, the way you set it up, you can only set it up a couple ways, and then if it's not comfortable, that's that. You have to get something different or customize it a little more. Where this one, you can kind of customize it really specifically to the way that you want it to be. Another note for the suspension is I got a micro rope here. Oh, there's a little caterpillar on it. But I got a micro rope and it goes to the tree. And then the micro rope then hooks onto the loop that is attached to the other nylon suspension on the hammock. It's got a great double coil nylon zipper on this system. Since I've been using it, it hasn't really caught or anything like that, so that's great. Another great thing about this hammock is oftentimes you'll get a hammock that if you look at the threading close enough, there's lots of loose threads coming off that you got to pull off, or parts that look like they didn't seam it very well. But this hammock, the construction of it is really well done. I'm really impressed with the handiwork they got here. So I'm going to climb in the hammock now and we'll see what it's like. Okay, so I'm going to climb in the hammock now, and you can see kind of the stability of it as I climb in. One thing I found last night when I climbed in is once you get in, there's such a big gap here, and when you're trying to get in and zip it up, it was a little more difficult, and a lot of mosquitoes were climbing in with me. So keep that in mind. So I'll climb in here. I really think the guidelines make a big difference for the stability of this hammock, because when I didn't have them, it was a lot more difficult to climb in. And there you have it. Okay, so I'm inside the Lawson hammock now, and you can see from just me sitting inside here, there's so much space. It's like lying on a cot, elevated. I really like it. You really feel like you're getting a lot of air flow through when the tarp's not on. It's got two great pockets here. One giant pocket you can fit books in or whatever you need. Another smaller pocket that you can fit some nice stuff in. It has these two O-rings, one on each side. So if you wanted to put a ridgeline and hang things in it, you could for sure. You can lie flat on your back. I think even when you lie asymmetrical in this hammock, it's really comfortable. I really am enjoying it. It's definitely a great hammock for the price too. Yeah, from the only thing I don't really like about the hammock, I think, is the tarp. Especially if you were in a bind and it started raining on you, and you had to just get that tarp over. Because if you had it halfway over you, I guess you could pull it around and maybe get it velcroed in, but it wouldn't be easy. Okay, I'm gonna try moving around a little bit inside here. Switch around sides. Oh yeah, this thing's not going anywhere. As you can see, I just completely am jumping around, going up, jumping on my stomach. Like, the stability is not an issue in this hammock. People always say, oh, it's wobbly, I'm gonna flip out, but you can see I'm moving everywhere. This thing's not tipping or nothing. There's my brother over there. You'll often see him in the background of videos, as he is the silent watchman. But yeah, overall, I like this hammock for comfort. I think it's really comfortable. I think I would have to test it out really in the rain to see how the tarp would work. But I mean, worst case scenario, you don't use that tarp and you bring another tarp and you put it over top of it. I think that would be the best situation, but we'll have to wait for a good rainstorm to see what it's like. Okay, I'm going to take the hammock down now and I'll show you what it's like. Let's take out the guidelines that are holding it stable. Now, as you can see, after you take those guy lines out, it is quite a bit wobblier. A little less stable.
I don't know how high this creek gets when there's lots of rainfall.
Now the tent poles here, see, they just come apart real easy. And they have a little stuff sack for them. They go this wide, probably about 12 inches.
Yeah. I think through the insurance on it, that we have to take down this tree and that tree. We have them cross side by side, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's one that's leaning, the one beside it. But and this one, if we both had them fall, they only be about 4 or 5 feet apart. And we might be able to maneuver enough to create a walkway. Yeah, I mean, we could cut a bunch of this green stuff up at 4 foot lengths and nail it across. Probably wait.
The poles come apart, and then you just fold it in half and you can roll it up. So I'll go take the other side down first.
That's a big one to pack up, eh?
Yeah.
You have the back forward feature, like where you can speed up the assembly and takedown and then add music on top of it. That's the evolution of this YouTube video. I don't want to watch you pack a tent up. We put down that creek, that creek that passed through, and that's what we have to do. And these things here, these like next time we come, those will be dead and down. There's enough fallen logs in there.
Guys over there are trying to build a bridge across the river.
Break away all the tree shrubbery that's holding it up. Maybe continue to drop.
And there you have it, all packed up. I'm going to also review this hammock as the bivy tent because you can also use this as a bivy tent. So we're going to do that in a few seconds with the magic of camera, TV, YouTube. Okay, a couple more things about the Lawson hammock here. The total weight for it is 4.25 pounds. The length is 90 inches. The width is 36 inches. The packing width is 22 by 6 inches, so 22 inches long, 6 inches wide. It holds a 250 pounds capacity, and it also goes into the bivy sack like we were talking about before. So I came home because I'm going to set it up as a bivy and do some water tests to see how it does if it was water flowing underneath of you, because the material to me felt like it would really get wet and you would just get soaked. So I'm going to set it up now and we'll try it with the hose and see how it works, because it's not supposed to rain for a while.
Okay, so there you go. I have it set up as the bivy tent, and you can see you just peg out the loopholes for the webbing, and it sets itself up nicely for the bivy tent. So what I'm going to do is get a hose, spray some water underneath of it, and lie down in it and see what the results are, how waterproof it really is. Okay, so I just soaked underneath the hammock. You can see it beat it up really nice on the sides here. So that's a good sign. It doesn't look like it went through the hammock. But we'll go inside and take a look. So I soaked it from this side and drenched it till it came through on this side. So this side's pretty wet. Wow, it feels really dry actually. So I find the test with these is always when you're, and it may last if nobody's on it, but once you got the pressure, that's when you get soaked. Oh, there is a significant amount of less spacing here when relying on the floor too. So you can tell, I don't have very much wiggle room. I mean, when it's set up as a hammock, I had tons of space, but when it's lying on the ground, it's not as good. So I'm not feeling wet anywhere. Wow, I'm really impressed with that. I completely soaked underneath here, and I really thought it was going to come through, but it's not even a drop of wet came through. I soaked it for probably about 3 minutes straight, just the hose running underneath of it, and not even a drop came through. So yeah, I guess it passed that test on the bivy side of it. The only thing about this bivy is it's really tight quarters. It'd be nice if it was up higher. But yeah, pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. I must say I'm more impressed with the Lawson hammock than I thought I was going to be based on previous reviews that I've read. A lot of people say it's not stable, it's not comfortable, but and it's not waterproof, but hey, it seems pretty waterproof to me. That was a good soaking I gave it, and it's stable when you tie it out. If you don't tie it out, I can see where they're going for, but when you tie it out like they recommend, it's really stable. So I'm going to hang it up in the front yard and hose it down with a tarp on it and see how it does like that. Okay, I got the tarp set up. I'm now going to give it a good soaking. See how it does if it's simulated rain. You see that sagging in the middle. It would probably do better if I had maybe tie out the ends a little bit further out or something, or tie them separately to the tree instead of wrapping them around the webbing. So I'm going to soak it for like 45 seconds or so, and then we'll see if there's any major leak areas or whatever. So far it seems to be doing pretty good. It runs off. The nylon webbing is covered pretty good by the tarp. Okay, so you just saw I soaked it through. It does definitely beat up really nice. Spots I was concerned about were on the corners, and they did get wet, but we'll see. I don't know, maybe it didn't even affect the inside. And the webbing here, which I think will still be a bit of an issue. Alright, so I'm going to take off the tarp, and then I'll come back and show you what the results of the inside look like. Okay, here we go, the tarp's off. This corner here got really wet. Let's check and see on the inside what that looks like. Alright. The corner there got pretty drenched. It's a little tiny bit, tiny bit damp. See right here, it looks like a little bit of water got through. But I guess you can just see, yeah, right where that stitching is. That soaked through. So I think if you ran a downpour, that would eventually run down at all four corners and get you. So aside from that, it's pretty dry in here. You got some splash from this part of the webbing, because that's where the ventilation is up here. And so if it hits there, it hits anywhere around the sides of there, it splashes back in. But aside from that, it's pretty good. So I think maybe on the bottom side of this, if you get some of that sealing tape, you may be able to put it on the sides, and then it would be good to go. The webbing up here, I mean, I didn't spray it for too long, but this whole part here is soaked. So I mean, we sprayed it for like a minute, and maybe just a minute, and the whole top half of here is soaked. So I'd imagine this would fill up with water pretty quickly. I think that this should cause some drip down, but not for too long. And then it will fill up here. But this part of the material should not soak through to you. I think it would drip off. But the only way to tell that is with a nice big rainstorm, which I don't have any coming up. But yeah, overall, I like the Lawson hammock. I think it's a good hammock. It impressed me in more ways than I thought, because I've heard about a bunch of negative reviews about it, but I think it's a great hammock. I would use it. There's only a couple things that I don't like about it, which is pretty good, because with most hammocks I find there's a few the more, like especially the detail in the hemming and stitching. The only thing that's I guess the biggest negative would be the tarp, how it completely wraps around it. There's not a lot of air that can get through, so if you're in a rain and it was muggy and hot, you get really sticky. But there is good ventilation. After I climbed in with the tarp earlier, through here, you'll see when the tarp covers it, you get a good air through right there. So that's not bad. That's more than you can ask for, I guess, with this type of tarp coverage. Like I said too, you could always add your own tarp over top of it, which would be great. I mean, it's a great hammock. I really like it. So stay tuned for next month, and I think we're gonna go over Ticket to the Moon products next month, but we'll see what's in store.